8:32, buddy.
Okay, who wants to start?
Okay,
First,
everybody ready?
left to right.
Your reaction to this coming back and what kind of memories that incites in you?
Well, it's great for NFL fans here in Los Angeles. My own personal memories, I went to games with my father as a kid, and although they didn't play in the first Super Bowl, I went to the first Super Bowl with my dad as well. So I grew up, watching USC football in the Coliseum as well as the Los Angeles Rams, and then playing for them it was a wonderful experience for me to be able to play my entire high school, college, and professional career here in Los Angeles. I played with some really incredible players, Merlin Olsen, Jack Youngblood, I'm thinking of. It's just an amazing group of athletes. And my first, Ram moment, I threw a touchdown on my first pass in my first game. And my last play was getting sacked by Lawrence Taylor and blowing out my knee. So that's my bookends of my Ram career.
Let me just follow up with one of those. What have we, with those vivid memories, and a lot of us remember those guys, what has LA missed in these 20 years by not having a team?
Well, I'd like to think UCLA football and USC football has filled the gap pretty well. But there is a core of NFL fan base, including my son, who called me and said he's buying a Todd Gurley jersey this morning. I said, don't forget about number 11. But there's room in this market of Los Angeles. I mean, we have a couple of professional basketball teams as well as two good college basketball teams as well. And so it's a very, very large market with a real appetite for athletic events. So it's going to be real nice to call them the Los Angeles Rams again. And we are particularly pleased as coached by an ex-Trojan.
Let's talk about sharing the facility for the next 2-3 years. How is that going to work out as far as SC having high standard for that facility and then the Rams coming in as well and just sharing the stadium, the Coliseum?
Well, I have been part of the negotiations on that point of how those specifics are going to work, but clearly we're playing on Saturdays, they're playing on Sundays. There are certain NFL standards that must be met, for example, lighting. So that's one thing that will be addressed, I believe, by the Rams. They will put some improvements in to get to NFL standards, which we'll be the beneficiary of as well. The field, the condition of the turf, it's really great with one team. With two, it's something we'll be talking about what we might want to do in that case. And there's probably a whole variety of other things that I haven't thought about or they haven't thought about, which we'll work our way through over the next few months.
People forget, yet one time you did share that field. It was the Rams, the Raiders, and USC.
There's a lot of teams that played on that field, and it was in horrible shape. And I look back on some of the video of those games, and it was like mud, dirt, and I've been lucky enough to play on that field since I was 16 or 17 in high school. The field itself has never been in better shape than it has been the last 2 or 3 years. We spent a lot of money and a lot of time on that very point. So it has to be up to NFL standards, but it has to be up to USC standards as well, that field. So that'll be an issue that we'll figure out.
Pat, when you hear all the talk of Goodell yesterday saying there wasn't a suitable environment, yet that's been the Trojans' home for a long time. It was your home as an NFL player. What reaction do you have to that sort of downplaying of the Coliseum as a host?
Well, we're in the midst of planning to renovate it. It does need a great deal of work. It was built in 1923 and really has only been touched twice since then for the Olympics and then earthquake retrofit. So we have a plan ourselves, which we're executing on right now, to renovate that stadium, put $270 million in it. The Rams will be a tenant and help us do that.
Have the financial details of how much they're going to pay to share it, has that already been finalized?
I think there's some details, Gary, that still need to be finalized, and again, I would talk to Todd Dickey about those because I'm just an underling in this game, an understudy to him.
How does the presence of an NFL team affect the aura of football at a high school or collegiate level here in LA?
That's a good question. I think you know, most big cities, major cities have NFL franchises, and we haven't had one since the '90s. So I think, you know, there's a lot of kids that have grown up here, not a fan of the Los Angeles Rams or the Raiders or whomever. And so that has been missing, and that's hopefully gonna get recaptured. Again, I think, you know, a lot of kids, those kids, we, USC and UCLA are the beneficiaries of that. Those kids growing up and, you know, wanting to be watching their USC heroes or UCLA heroes play, either at the Rose Bowl or the Coliseum too. And so, you know, there is something, I think, for high school and college kids to get a chance to play in an arena where a professional team plays. Now, we all know it's on a temporary basis, but I think, you know, some of our guys will think it's cool.
How does that affect, if you've got the Rams here temporarily, as far as trying to impress somebody to come to USC? Or does it even factor into recruiting to bring in top caliber kids here?
I don't think it factors into recruiting at all. I mean, you know, we sell the power of USC, what it means to be a student here, to graduate from USC, and if you're lucky enough to play in the NFL, fantastic, but 99.3% of college football players never play a regular season down of college football. And that's a stat. It's accurate.
In pro football.
But I haven't walked around campus since this became official on 6 and all day today. What's your sense, especially around Heritage Hall and around, you know, the football team, of the excitement level of the guys?
I haven't really seen much of the football team per se, but I think there's, you know, kind of excitement on campus. I think it'll be fun. You know, it's, and I think, as we said earlier, plenty of room for, you know, a couple of great college teams and a professional team here as well. Sometimes you have a little different audience. I don't think it'll affect our gate at all. I think, you know, we have generations of Trojan fans. We have one season ticket holder, Herb Newbar, he's had season tickets since 1929. It didn't come anymore, but at 103 threw out the first pitch of a baseball game a few years ago. And so we'll still continue to have those rabid USC fans who have come for generations, and that's the fun thing. And the difference, I think, between collegiate and professional athletics, you'll see 5 generations of Trojan fans come to our games.
You played your college and your pro football at the Coliseum. How much
And
of
some
the
high school games.
At Bishop Vermont. How are the Rams going to utilize you as far as helping them recapture generations past? Because
Well, I'm way past. I'm going to be talking to them this afternoon, but I'm not in the capacity of, you know, how they're going to use me. I mean, hey, how can we be a great partner for them as they, you know, plan their 2016 season?
Is the rumor true that you're wearing your old jersey underneath that coat and tie?
Well, I used to be a lot taller than that. It doesn't fit as well. No, I don't know where my old jersey. I don't think I have an old jersey, but if I do have one, it's old.
But it's no secret that you've been an advocate for the Rams relocating back to Los Angeles. Your reaction when it was made official?
Well, I was thrilled, just because you play for the teams. Like when I became athletic director here, I wouldn't have done it anywhere else. It was my alma mater, and so I played for one professional team, and that was it. And so if somebody were going to come back, I'm delighted. It is the now Los Angeles Rams.
Have you texted or talked with TJ McDonald at all?
No, I have not. I have not talked to T.J. McDonald. I haven't talked to the coach either. I'm going to talk to some people this afternoon.
you're going to be sharing facilities other than the Coliseum as far as training, or no?
No. Well, they're not. I mean, I know they're not going to be using our football facility. It's just that we can't handle 2 teams there.
Are there any plans for any type of upgrading in the locker room facilities or anything like that?
Not before next season. I mean, you know, we'll dress it up somehow or other, but it's this short time frame. I think we'll be addressing the lighting immediately, and what are we going to do, and how are we going to maintain the field. I think that's a conversation for this afternoon for me.
What do you mean address the lighting? I'm not familiar with the
That's okay.
stadium.
The NFL has a standard, a lighting standard, which I may be wrong, but I do not think the current lighting adheres to the NFL standard. So if it does not, that'll have to be upgraded.
Just the lighting, and you're not worried about anything else this time?
Well, I'm sure there are many things we're worried about, but I mean, when people say the immediate changes, that resonates with me at this moment.
But those are expenses that the Rams will have to do.
I am not sure of that. Again, that is probably in the least that's been negotiated through our senior administration.
One more?
Off the Rams. When you watch Monday night and you know you're opening against that team, I know some of those guys are going on to other things that won't be the same makeup, but
I
what's the
hope
thought about opening?
27 guys leave early. No, we all know it's a formidable first game, and they're exceedingly well coached. We know they'll be ready, but I think for us too, it helps you get your guys focused early. They know from this point forward they're playing the defending champions, and I think they'll look forward. These guys come to USC to playing games like that. We have a bunch of them. We're going to have a bunch of tough games. There's no layups next year at all. The conference is really, really strong again. And so, but in the next 2 years we play Texas, but that's kind of bring it on. The debate is it the best strategy to make the Final Four? You could argue that. Is that the goal, to get to the Final Four? It should be. That is, the contract signed. We're playing Alabama. We're hoping to have Sam Cunningham as our honorary captain, because what he did down there in that game in 1970. So we're looking forward to playing on what I'm sure is going to be a very good Alabama team.
One quick follow-up, Pat. On the broadcast that night, they said they're playing in Glendale. Very rare for these teams from South Carolina and Alabama to come this far west. Is there anything to that? And this is a rare matchup between USC and Alabama outside of a bowl context.
Yes, we don't have any direct SEC ties into bowl games. We have one with the Big 12 and the Big 10. So it is, relatively rare. We don't have a lot of room in our schedule. We have 9 conference games now in Notre Dame, so we only have 2 games actually to schedule. And so, did you do a home and home with an Alabama or Auburn? We've played one off with Auburn. We played a one off with Virginia Tech, et cetera, et cetera. But that was before we played a conference championship game, where we had a little bit more flexibility. We had one more week to schedule a game like that. So once we had a conference championship game, the scheduling windows or opportunities really tightened.
And just to be clear, you weren't happy having 2 teams coming, not just the one.
I didn't say 2 teams were going to.
Oh, okay.
No one's asked me that question. I have not
Well, what are
answered
your
that question.
thoughts on perhaps a second team also using the Coliseum as well as the Rams on top of your current team?
Well, first of all, our current lease only permits 1 team to play. If there's going to be a second team, that is going to have to be negotiated with the NFL or by the NFL with the Coliseum Commission and the Science Center. That's not in our hands.
None of that would be kind of, you guys, your lease
Yeah, that's-
allows for only 1, but that second team wouldn't involve you guys at all?
It would have to be, the lease would have to be amended, and to do that, those 2 entities would have to agree to do that. And again, that's usually referred to those entities or tied to you.
And that would help FC financially if you have 2 teams rather than just
Yeah,
one.
it would exacerbate the field issue, but yeah, it'd be generally more revenue to help us with our renovation.
Right.
Okay.
All right,
Thank
thank
you,
you all
sir.
very
Thanks,
much.
Pat.
Thank